Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a project for Kitaholic Kits, and I'm using the September 2022 kit for this one today. And I'm really focusing quite heavily on the mixed media kit for this one. And I'm not creating a 12 by 12 layout today. I have in mind that I'm going to do something for my All About Me album. So my All About Me album is something that I've been working on for the last sort of 18 months or so. And I tend to do layouts or creations that are a little bit more art journally and quite mixed media heavy. So I decided that I was going to use one of my photos, one of my selfies for this one today. So I could really focus in on the mixed media kit that we got. So the mixed media kit this month has 4 of the Delusions shimmer paints, and I'm going to use 3 of those for this particular layout today. I have gessoed my white cardstock because I knew that I was going to use these paints and I wanted them to be able to move across the page quite easily. And at this stage I didn't know whether I was going to put any water on the page other than just adding a little bit of water onto my brush when I am brushing in these circles. So what I did for the circles is I have created them just with a template that is from Scrap FX. I've got all these different size templates, so I just used my black pen and just made those gorgeous circles around the page. I know that I'm not going to use a full 12 by 12 at this point, but I don't know where what I do when I'm creating layouts like this, pages like this, I tend to make them in a bigger form, and then I find the bits of the patterns that I've created what I like best, and then I cut it down from there. It'll make more sense as you see what I'm doing moving forward. So I just want to talk, and again, briefly about the shimmer paints and the colors that they come in. So that green is called a Dirty Martini. I guess it's after the ollies that you get in a martini. The red color is Fiery Sunset, and that's a beautiful red corally color. And this teal color is Vibrant Turquoise. And that's probably my favorite color that we got this month. It's absolutely stunning. Really, really rich colors with this one, and wonderful shimmer once it's all dry as well. Now the shimmer can change a little bit depending on if you use a lot of water or no water at all. So if you don't use any water on your brush or anything like that, it will be very, very shimmery. I've used a little tiny bit of water and it didn't really change the shimmer at all. If you were using these paints, if you watered them down considerably and did the packaging technique, for example, or did one where you were doing a bit of a water wash and you swirled the paint around the page, that shimmer would lessen. But I will say the Delusions shimmer paint the shimmer does last quite well no matter what you do with it. So it's a really good fun way to have a play. What I did is when I get new products is I've got a couple of pieces of white cardstock that I'd have laying around, and I trial and test them to see what they're going to look like. Now the other color that we did get in the shimmer paints as well, which I haven't used in this layout today, is also called Vanilla Custard. So it is definitely a vanilla-y color, and I felt that I didn't really need that on my page today. And I just love how these circles all came together. I love how you can still see the paintbrush strokes. I really love being able to, with my mixed media, particularly for my art journal pages, making it more grungy, I guess, or a little bit more real, not so neat, not so tidy. And I get I get a lot messier when I'm doing my art journal pages. I wanted to add some more black to this as well. And I pull out my black gesso. One of the things about black gesso, why I like using black gesso, is I want to put some splatters onto this page. And I find if I use my black gesso instead of, say, an ink spray, I can get the right consistency. If I get the right consistency, it will sit above the page and not sort of bleed into the page. I did do a couple of versions of this particular layout, and one where I did use a black spray, and it didn't work at all. It just melded in and made these really awful black splodges. So I tried it again as part of my lead up to creating this one. I did do a couple of versions, which is quite strange for me, but it once I put the black splatters on, I realised I'd made a monumental mistake and it was not worth salvaging. So I did start again. Admittedly, I did get grumpy and I walked away, and I came back the next day and didn't finish it in one go. Another insight into my crazy thinking. All right, so at this stage, what I did to make those black circles, I just grabbed a little bit of, what was it? Just a lid from one of my ink sprays and just coated it with some black gesso and just stuck it around really messily, didn't really care where that was going to be. That's just really just to add some extra dimension to the page. And I also put black splatters through that as well. I added some more water to the black gesso. So it was around this time where I was thinking, will I put a photo on this layout? Will I not put a photo on this layout? Will this all just be mixed media and a little bit of pattern paper, and then I'm done, and then maybe a verse or, some sort of inspirational thing? I try to do that with my art journal album that's all about me. Pages that either inspire me, or sometimes they're ones that I don't share because they might be more, I guess, darker messaging. Maybe I'm not in the right headspace, so I'm really trying to sort of create something around that headspace that I'm in. So I don't generally share those ones because then sometimes they're quite dark and they're very grungy, and they would only make sense to me, and it's quite personal. So even when I do flip throughs, I won't show those particular pages because they're very, very, very specifically targeted at me. So I really like that about how when we create, we can really either, particularly when I'm art journaling, I don't really do it when I'm scrapbooking as such. Particularly when I art journal, I tend to get a little bit more, I don't know, it's more of an introspection, I guess. And I guess it's because a lot of the options that you have around even phrases that you might find in ephemera packs and things like that, you can sort of equate to something that might be going on in your life, or something that has gone in your life that you're wanting to talk about, or whatever. And I find that's quite cathartic. So this layout is not a cathartic one in any way, which is why I'm sharing it, obviously. But I think that's a really good way for me sometimes when I'm not feeling myself or something's going on. I can take it out on some mixed media and some paints and that type of thing. All right, so I'm rambling as I always do. I want to create here some layers on the page. So I'm using some of that black and white patterned paper that you might remember from my last layout this month. I loved and tore it apart for my last layout. So I've just randomly placed some pieces across the page. And then I want to make it a little bit bright and happy as well by putting in some florals from the ephemera pack that we got. And what I did with those flowers is the flowers were really blue and did not sit across that turquoise well at all. But the ready flowers were perfectly matched for this one. It was just because those flowers were left over, I didn't have the right color. So I've used just some of the paint as well and just painted around those petals. And I think it just matches in beautifully with that page. To tie in the green, I add in some of the leaf foliage as well. And I did pop my photo up on some foam, and I have backed it with some white cardstock as well, just to give it some lift off that messy background. What I also did do is with my fingertips, I did go across some of this areas where some of the pattern paper was with just some I just put some paint on my fingers and did some horizontal lines across that page. Across the page, you'll see there, just at the left of the photo, a little bit where I'm currently inking as well, as some of the paint is left there. I have trimmed this off now. I've decided that it was a little bit too big. I wanted to cut it down a little bit. And then I come in and finish with some more black splatters, just using some more of the black gesso. Definitely my best and favorite way to put black splatters on a page. I really don't like the inks, the ink look when I use inks. It really doesn't work for me. And then I thought, no, it needs another lift because some of these leaves and things have got some of the white as well. So I also do add in some white splatters in just a moment. And my little messaging there is just from my stash. It's some Tim Holtz phrase stickers that I have sitting in my stash. I love those phrase stickers. They go on forever. I've had those books for several years now, and I always seem to be able to find something that resonates with what I'm creating on any given day. You would have seen me experimenting with a couple of the doilies there as well, but I decided against those. I felt that it just covered up too much, and I still really wanted those circles to shine and show through on my page. So there we have it, something a little bit different from me this month. I thought it would be a great way to show off some of the other ways you can work with the paints. So I hope I've given you just a little bit of inspiration. I've got a couple of close-ups for you. And as always, I will leave in the description box below all the details of where you can get this month's kit. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.